Cheers, everybody. We are back for a special edition. This is Bourbon on a Budget. It's not Bourbon on a Budget tonight, though. We are back for a special edition episode, dropping this unannounced. It is St. Patrick's Day. Well, it will be when you listen to this anyway. We've all got our green on. Myself, TJ Pittenger, Brendan Sinone, and Ben Cock. Gentlemen, how are you feeling tonight?
Today, I will not be known as Brendan Sinone. We're going to drop the Sinone, the Italian last name. I am Brendan Kane. Irish. Half Irish. Does that work? Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I want to sing you guys a song to celebrate my half Irish ancestry on St. Patrick's Day. Yep, here we go. Just like 5 seconds. Be over real quick. Chill out.
As long as it's not a turkey gobble.
As I put on my morning attire, take my button flies out to the dryer. Next thing I know, I'm a lucky man of means. I found $10 in the pocket of my jeans and some Jameson too, which we're gonna drink today. That was an old Bennigan's commercial. Y'all don't remember that? That's high school, son.
You're old.
High school.
Oh my gosh.
You're really old.
Legitimately like a year older than you guys.
Yeah, so that was the cutoff, was whatever age you are, and we are not. St. Patrick's Day. Ben, hopefully you don't have a song, but how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I have zero experience in Irish whiskey, and I'm a wee bit intrigued.
A wee bit intrigued.
You see what I did there?
Bad Irish. Yes.
We heard what you did there.
Okay.
All right, so some Irish whiskeys tonight. We've not only the Jameson in my little, flask size, but we've got something else exciting that we're going to talk about and drink later. But before we get into that, go follow us on social media. Check us out. Bourbon on a Budget. You can search it everywhere. If you are on Instagram or Twitter, it is at Bourbon Budget. We've gotten some fun interaction on there from some different distilleries, some rather large distilleries, whether that be Wild Turkey or Michter's or Buffalo Trace, just whatever. We've gotten some fun interaction. We're having a great time with the people that are the casual fans that enjoy tagging us in what they're drinking on most nights. We're having. Why
don't you pick up that name you just dropped there, TJ?
I thought if I just stared at him like that would be good.
Yeah, and then the moment of horror that I realized was, oh God, if he's quiet, it's just gonna stay at me this entire time.
Yeah, the video stayed. So like if you haven't lived through the last year of 2020, like Zoom focuses on the person that stops talking. So like I just left it on Brendan. So for the folks on YouTube, you'll enjoy getting to stare at him. For the folks listening on podcasts, hopefully you were listening on like double speed so that the pause was shorter. But anyway, having a good time on social media. We've given away a couple of bottles and may have some more things coming soon. So stay tuned. But Irish night, Brendan is half Irish, so I'm half excited for this. Brendan, tell us a little bit about the history of Irish whiskey before we start drinking.
All right, so I got Jameson in my glass right now. I'm not drinking it just yet, but I am nosing it. And we picked Jameson because it is a quintessential Irish whiskey. You guys don't have a ton of experience with Irish whiskey, correct? Neither of you.
Correct.
Correct.
All right. So
done several picklebacks. That's about it.
It sounds disgusting. And also allegedly began in Tallahassee, which would make sense. Tallahassee. A lot of things originate in Tallahassee.
Y bombs, picklebacks.
Yeah, mostly alcohol. Yeah. I was gonna say some sort of STD, but it's too soon for the COVID jokes, I think.
STD jokes are fine, but COVID jokes we can't make quite yet.
I mean, pot belly is all I'm gonna say. Unless they want to sponsor us in that case.
Yeah.
All right, so Irish whiskey. You guys are kind of pooping on it a little bit here. I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like you just are kind of ignorant to what the world of Irish whiskey can be. Now it's a little straight and narrow, kind of like how bourbon is, where when we've done these bourbon reviews so far, and almost always vanilla, caramel, cherry, like these prominent flavors that are evident in bourbon. There's going to be similar kind of prominent flavors in Irish whiskey, but I do think bourbon goes into a lot more layers and in depth and richness than Irish whiskey typically does. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with Irish whiskey. It is actually really, really cool. It's got a really cool history. It originated back like almost as early. I think it's like the 1400s. Is where some of like the early documentations of Irish whiskey begins to show up. In the 1600s, becomes more popular, and by the early 1800s, it was the most popular drink I think in all of Europe. It definitely overtaken Scotch. It was like right up there, number one. People loved it, and then there was a few things that happened. Irish Civil War, some other type of war stuff going on, and this little thing called Prohibition in the United States. People in the United States loved Irish whiskey. I think it was probably the second most popular drink in the United States in that time. So as all those things kind of happened in the 1800s, it went from being one of the most popular drinks in the world to basically just dying. Like went from like 28 to 30 distilleries in Ireland, according to Wikipedia. It went down to 3 Irish whiskey distilleries in the late 1800s. By the 1960s. So it just kept slowly dying and dying. Eventually, in the like 1990s, 1980s, Jameson, which we're going to drink here, really kind of took over as like a well-marketed whiskey, a budget whiskey, and it caught on in a lot of bars. People liked it. They didn't love it, but it really helped Ireland and Irish whiskeys kind of stay alive into where we know it today, where they have about 28 to 30 distilleries now back in Ireland. So kind of a crazy history where it went from being at the peak of its game in the 1800s to in about 200 years being almost non-existent to now being relevant again.
So we've come full circle, and like everything, it ebbs and flows, and now it is something that people want to get back into. But we are starting with I'd say the Irish whiskey that most people are familiar with, right? Everyone's taken a shot of Jameson or had Jameson in something. Like you said, it's in that budget brand. I think this this is a 200 milliliter. I think it was like $9. So pretty cheap. I think you get like a handle for like $30. So not super expensive.
I got this giant thing. It's 1.75 liters. Is that a handle? That may even be bigger. I got this for it is a handle. Yeah, it was like $30. I think even like less than that at Costco for my wedding a couple years ago.
Yeah, so pretty inexpensive. Like you said, very budget, very much fits the show. The one we're going to do next probably doesn't. But Brendan, you've got the experience here. Talk to us about this. We're not going to rate the Jameson. Maybe we'll do that next St. Patrick's Day. But talk to us a little bit about the nose, what you're taking away from it. Let's talk about let's go through our ratings, but we're not necessarily assigning a number to this. We just want to get kind of acquainted with this Irish whiskey. I've been nosing a little bit, but I'm going to drink while you talk.
All right. So, yeah, I took my first sip a minute ago, and it basically reminds me of the first time I had Jameson. It's nothing fancy, doesn't really change over time. It's super basic. And there's something comforting to that because, you go to a bar, if there's not a great selection there, I will often do this. I'll like look up and be like, all right, they got Jameson. That's fine. Jameson neat is going to do me right for the evening. It's going to be like $5. Like it. So on the nose, this is going to be really, again, quintessential Irish shortbread cookie. Like shortbread cookie is what people, a lot of time they associate with Irish whiskey, shortbread cookie. So Ben, I'm going to throw this to you because you were trying to place it. Is that what you were getting earlier before you started drinking it? Or is that kind of in the realm of it a little bit for you?
Yeah, I can certainly see where shortbread cookie would make sense. I also get a lot of like on the top of the nose, like a lot of like interesting sour notes, similar to like really off the wall here, like a racquetball or a tennis ball, like brand new.
I could see that there is some of these like toys have like a weird vanilla-y smell to them. Sometimes it's not quite vanilla; it's like a manufactured vanilla, and Jameson has a weird metalliciness to it, which is so you guys know. I think they'd use both grain. And they'll use malted barley and unmalted barley, and so it's a blend, and that's probably been what you're getting. It's kind of that weird metallic-y, rubbery kind of nose a little bit too, which not super pleasant, I know, to talk about.
I definitely get the shortbread cookie. No, shortbread cookie mixed with tennis ball has to be the best. Has to be the best thing I've ever heard.
It's super off the wall. I just have no experience with this. I'm coming at it so blind. My palate is very terrible in this.
Yeah. So I definitely get some of that cookie. Let me take the glass out from in front of the mic. But definitely get some of that shortbread cookie. Get some of that kind of like funkiness that Ben's talking about. All right, taste. What are we tasting here, Brennan?
Same thing with the shortbread. I get that for sure. I get that metallic note. Almost tastes like a diet Coke kind of at the end, like the aftertaste. Like the aftertaste on this isn't great. I know we're making it not sound great. It is pretty pleasant and normal, but there is this little bite, this sharpness to it at the end with the finish. But I am getting some fruity notes as well. I don't know if it's like a pineapple or like a mango, but whereas like bourbon has those dark apple, cherry, red apple, cherry kind of notes, this to me, Irish usually is going to have more tropical fruit, and that's kind of in the realm of what we're starting to open up here. You guys will soon taste ones that I think will be far more pronounced with the tropical fruit and the complexity, but this gets a little bit of that on there.
What are you thinking, Ben?
Yeah, I would say this is a lot more pleasant on the palate than I was expecting based on the nose. Very smooth drink, easy to drink. I hate the word smooth, but it's certainly an easy drinker. It doesn't feel like high proof. I would probably guess this is around like 85. I would say sub 90.
It's 80. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So it's easy to drink. It's not like I said, the palate's way easier than the nose, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's light, right? So maybe that's a good word for it. It's very, like Ben said, it's very easy to drink, probably because we've been drinking stuff that's like 195 and 90 all over the place. But very, very easy to drink. It's light. The taste always bleeds over into the finish, but yeah, I get some of that. It's got like a weird aftertaste ish, like a weird hang around for the finish. Not a lot of spice or anything in it, So, Brendan, do you have any other thoughts on the finish itself?
It is weird. It's a weird finish. That's probably the least pleasant part of it. Like Ben said, it's just pleasant. It's smooth. It is. It's very easygoing. If someone were to offer you a pour of this in a bar, like, would you guys turn it down? Like, I don't think it's bad by any means, especially at the price. Like, it's just kind of Ben, you compared when you were sniffing earlier. Didn't you say it was like what was it? Canadian whiskey to bourbon. That this is what Irish whiskey is to Scotch.
Yeah, like I didn't really understand kind of where Irish whiskey sits in the realm of, European whiskeys. I certainly have experience in bourbons and ryes, and you were saying earlier that it may be a little bit where some people look down upon the Irish whiskey, similar to how, some people look at Canadian whiskeys to the US. So my main question was, does this kind of sit like at a below tier to like a lot of Scotch drinkers? I didn't know.
Yeah, I think so. And especially because Scotch can be so nuanced and complex. Like you're talking about different regions that have really different prominent flavors and notes. Like you got the really smoky, peaty stuff up in Isla or Islay. So yeah, there's a lot of different variety. You get some of the smoother, fruitier stuff in other regions of Scotland, like Speyside. Ireland, because so much of it is derived originally, or at least more recently, from the same distilleries. So we'll get into where Jameson is from Irish distillers, and that includes one of the ones we're going to drink in a little bit. It includes Powers, includes Middleton. So some of these big hitters in Ireland, a lot of them kind of come from the same place. So Ben, it doesn't really deviate at all like that much. It's starting to as they're getting more aged, and Ireland distilleries are growing more in the last 20 years or so. But it's still kind of baby steps there a little bit for it being nuanced and complex and different.
So we're not going through our full rating with this. I'm enjoying this. I don't think it's bad. You asked if somebody offered this in a bar. I mean, I'm probably not turning down very many things in most bars. So, so yes, I certainly would. But I might sip on it. Like now somebody orders a round of shots of Jameson. Like I'm not going to be the guy that's like sipping on it like a nerd. But like, yeah, I would certainly take the shot or take the pour, whatever was offered. I think the last shot that I did was Jameson. Just I don't do a lot of shots, so it's not like this was recent, but that's been kind of my experience with it. So we're not going through the full rating thing, but if you just had like off the top of your head, out of 10, cheap bottle, how, just kind of comparing it to what we've had. Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey 101, and Russell's Reserve. How do you compare it to those things? Like, what number? We didn't go through the rating scale, so it's not very fair, but like, what number do you just automatically assign it to off the top of your head, Brendan, and then Ben?
Uh, I think if we're including value like how we do with the bourbon rating scale, I think it's a 5 to 6. Like it's an average value, if not above average. For again, TJ, hold up the bottle that you have, if you will, please, real quick. Make a noise so people can see it.
$9 here.
I mean, $9 for that, like $30 for this monster. The value of it's pretty good. It's a drinkable, solid whiskey. Not gonna blow your socks off, but it's drinkable when you're talking about that price point. Like that's okay.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, so I would probably be a little bit lower than Brendan here. For something that's entry level and achievable, I understand that there's kind of some value there, but it's not. If I'm going to do something that's outside of my typical preference, then I at least want to have something that has a lot of character to it, so I can kind of see what the distillers are trying to at least go for. So I'd probably be in the 4.5, 4 to 4.5 range. Just I would say it's sub average, but like if it's just like I said, it's more out of my my typical profile.
Yeah, to me, it's got a lot of value if you are looking for that change of pace. Your change of pace is, like Ben said, for me and Ben, and maybe even Brendan, it's going to be something that's either in this category, but maybe up a step or two, or it's going to be something completely different altogether. Maybe it's a Canadian, maybe it's, a Scotch. I don't know, So I'd probably be low on the nose, got good flavor, low on the finish, middle of the road on consistency and complexity. It is consistent. It's not complex. So I'd probably be at like a 4. And then with value, probably get to around a 5 or 6. So I think we're all kind of in that same range. Ben's maybe a 4, 4.5. Brendan's maybe pushing between a 5 and a 6. And I'm kind of there with Brendan on that higher side too. It's a different change of pace. Like it's somebody that like wants to branch out. Maybe this is a good, like Ben mentioned, maybe this is a good branch for somebody to get into Scotch. Maybe that's like mine and Ben's way to break into that. I don't know.
Right.
But
This is like if you were recommending beginner stuff for someone, this would probably, because it's not offensive to you, TJ, right? Like
it's not bad. No, it's just
okay.
very middle of the road.
Mhm.
It's not as good as Wild Turkey. Like I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed Wild Turkey, but it is good. But it is average. It's not bad by any means. Yeah, I think when we get into our bad stuff, I feel like it's really going to fall off. I don't think we'll have a lot of 3s. I mean, maybe we will. I think stuff will really fall off to where it's, when it's average, we're going to come out with like a 4-ish. When it's bad, we're going to be like at a 1. Like, the nose was good and everything else stunk. So, Brendan, we're about to get to something better though. Tell us what else we're drinking tonight. Let's really rate this one, and then we'll get out of here and let these people enjoy their green beer and picklebacks. Green beer and picklebacks might be the title though. Now that I just said that.
Title, baby.
That is the good title. Not better than Gobble Gobble, but still a good one. All right. So I went out to get Irish whiskey for myself, but also to share with you guys for this. And I originally went out to go get, so Redbreast 12 is considered one thing to know about it, it is from Irish Distillers, which also houses Jameson and some of the other ones I mentioned, Power. So some pretty like prominent Irish brands that people who are kind of into the whiskey game are gonna know. Redbreast 12 is considered like a really it's an amped up version of Jameson. So that's one I've liked. I've had 2 different bottles of it before, but I always wanted to go ahead and get the cask strength one. So I think that and I figured that would speak to you guys a little bit more. But normally Redbreast 12 is at about I think 43%, so maybe 46%, but nothing to write home about. This is at 57.6%, 115.2 proof, age 12 years. I was going out to get you the American release initially of the small batch cask strength that they've recently put out. It's about $20 more than the bottle I got, but a little birdie told me, YouTube, that the cask strength may be the 12-year cask strength, the age statement one, may be discontinued pretty soon here in the United States, and hence why they're maybe going to that limited edition small batch. It may end up not being a limited edition sometime soon. So before it went out of style, before I never got a chance to try it, it was on my list of whiskeys to try this year. I got the 12-year. I also got myself the Lestau, which is a sherry cask finished one. I got into this one last week and it was delightful. I wish I had sent it to you guys. I didn't. So 12-year one. It is going to be Irish whiskey, but just turned up to 11 or 12. So I figure that's a good place for us to start, guys.
Let's roll. What are you getting on the nose here, Ben? You into it yet?
Yeah, this on the nose is way more appealing to me. I can get a lot of spice. Yeah, it feels a little bit more dense, cohesive. This one's already way better.
Brendan?
And this is going to have, I believe, some bourbon and some sherry, but it's not going to be quite as pronounced as the Lestau one. So you might guys be getting some of that sherry, because I get one very quickly on the nose oakiness, which I did not get at Jameson at all. So that must be the bourbon finish and just it being cask strength and aged longer than Jameson too for this to be 12 years. So I get some of that, but I get this fruitiness. And my mind's telling me like it's chocolatey, fruity. I want to say like chocolate covered raisins, like Raisinets is kind of where my brain is going with it. It's this
getting
nice.
Getting a little cherry. Now that you're saying that, like a chocolate covered cherry.
Yep.
It's prettier. I know that if you're listening to this only, you can't see, but it's a darker, prettier drink as well. If you're watching, you kind of see me fumbling around with both drinks, trying to spill it on my Mac. But yeah, definitely a more pleasant nose, definitely more enjoyable there. But I'm getting some of that cherry, definitely the oak. It's closer to a bourbon on the nose than the Jameson was by far. All right, I haven't tasted it yet, but I've been watching you guys drink it. Let's go to the taste.
Way better here for me. Immediately, I almost get like a Tootsie Roll when I'm like on like the immediate taste.
Ooh, I can see that, but you said Tootsie Roll, Ben. In my mind, went to what's like the counterpart to Tootsie Rolls, the purple grapey ones. They're like the knockoff Tootsie Rolls. So I got like a little I guess maybe it must be the sherry cask again, like this fruitiness in addition to this milk chocolate. I get that milk chocolate from the nose for sure. Maybe that's where you're getting with Tootsie Rolls, dude. I get both of those. I get the sherry side and the chocolate side very strongly on the first sip.
Yeah, I can definitely get the cherry.
Yeah, the chocolate is there, and then I get that sweetness for sure. There's a little funk in there, right? I assume that's the Irish coming through.
One thing for Irish stuff to let you guys know, I forgot to say this earlier. So a lot of it's usually like a grain mix. I did say that with certainly with the Jameson, but for something like this is a single pot still. So they use a pot still to distill a majority of the high brand Irish ones. So that kind of gives it the smoothness. I know we'll talk about pot still with bourbon next week.
So yeah, so I'm getting, like Ben said, hold on, let me take another sip.
Unmalted and malted barley, so that could be it too, TJ. What you're getting with this like weird bready, funky quality.
Yeah, which I don't dislike. It's just a little bit different on it, but it's good. But it is really, really good. I like the cherry. I like the chocolate that comes through on it. How does it linger? How does it finish for you, Ben?
Great. This is probably one of the better ones that we reviewed on a finish, and that just could be the higher proof, so it sits a little harder, a little bit longer with you. I really want to put this up against Maker's Cask, because it's a weeded cask strength bourbon, and I usually get a lot of chocolate and wheat notes off that, and I think this would be an interesting compare and contrast. So I'm definitely enjoying this one.
Brendan, how's it finish?
The chocolate note bends right on again. The milk chocolate comes out very pronounced. It's awesome. The finish is great. This is the one compared coming off the Jameson from something that was 80 proof to something that's 112 or so proof, night and day. But it is extremely complex to finish. It lingers with you. The Lestau one I tried recently too also had an amazing finish, not anywhere near the same proof, but super complex. So Redbreast is doing a really great job with these finishes. I get the black peppery that maybe from the alcohol on this one, but there's a nice spice to it in addition to the chocolate. Also, like the tropical fruit showing up finally here a little bit. I thought it'd be a little bit more. That's my first time trying it. But I get like a pineapple cakiness to it as well. It's really good. It's really good. What about you, TJ? How's it sitting for you?
So we had apple pie in a glass with Buffalo Trace. Now you've got pineapple upside down cake in a glass with the pineapple and the bready and the cherry, and I guess you just drizzled some Hershey syrup on top of it with the chocolate. So I don't that kind of
Ooh.
weirds it up a little bit. But
It sounds delicious.
yeah, I mean, I'd take that chocolate on top of a cake. So yeah, no, I like the finish way more than the Jameson. I mean, the difference in price, it's not really a shocking thing that we like the Redbreast 12 cask better than, a $9 bottle at your local liquor store. So I don't think we're breaking any ground there. But yeah, the finish lingers a little bit more. It fights you a little bit more, like, which I know that Ben likes. So definitely better. And I'm starting to get some of those tropical notes as well. The cherry and the chocolate are, I think, what is most pronounced, and then it's got a lot of that funk, but you get some of those other things kind of on the finish. So, all right, we said we would rate this. Let's get our rating up and going. We'll go nose first. Brendan, start us off.
All right. The nose, I'm gonna go with. I'm going between a 1 and a 1.5 on it. I'll go 1. I wish we could do 1.25. I'll go 1. It's an average nose, maybe slightly above average. It's not amazing, but it is very solid.
Ben?
Yeah, I think Brendan's got it right here. 1.
I am right in there with you guys. I got a 1 on this one. Taste, Ben, you go first on this one.
Taste is good. Taste would be out of 4, and I'm gonna go. It can't be. I'd say 2.5. Let's go 2.5.
Brendan?
I'm going back and forth between 2.5 and 3 on it, and I rounded down with 1. I'm going to round up, and especially as this opens up, I'm going to go to 3 on this one for the taste. Some of the citrusy notes are starting to open up now, more of those baking spices as well. So it's getting a little more complex, a little more interesting as it has time to breathe here. So 3.
Yeah, I like your 3 call. I think I'm close to there too. I think I'd probably go 2.75. We'll eventually put quarter points in. Maybe this would have been the episode to do that. But I got 3 as well. This is a really pleasant taste. I think I'd give anything that was average like a 2. So this is definitely above average. So I'm bumping it up, and I'll even say that it's good. So I think that makes 3 work. I'll keep going with the finish. I think the finish is really good. I'm going to go with and give it the full 1 point on the finish. Ben, am I right or wrong there?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure what the price on this bottle is, but it's hard to argue that this isn't going toe to toe with anything that we've reviewed so far. So,
yeah, to me, it's the best finish we've had to date. When I tell you guys the price, it'll probably make a little bit more sense. But price notwithstanding, it is a pretty damn great nose. Fairly close to elite, like as far as the finish. It's excellent. Finish is great.
First time we've ever given something all 3 1s across the board in any category, right? In anything that we could. First time we've ever rated something perfect in a category, except for a review that's coming out tomorrow, and you'll find out what that is if you are subscribed to our YouTube, iTunes, or whatever.
What a
for one
drop. Good job.
For one individual category, not an entire, but like for either nose, taste, finish, we did give something we agreed completely and gave it the full rating. This is also the very first time that myself or Ben have ever given something a 1 on the finish. Brendan gave Russell's a 1 on the finish, which he said he would like to retract the next week. But nope. Ben and I have never given something a full 1. So this finish truly is special. Complexity and cohesiveness. We'll go with Brendan first this time.
I'm going to do it, guys. 1, it is complex. It is cohesive. The nose tells you you're going to get something sweet, a little spicy, both fruit and chocolatey. That goes all the way through, but it branches out throughout both the palate and the finish. 1.
Ben?
Dang it, man. This is good. If this is more than a $70 bottle, we're gonna have an issue on value. But I really am enjoying this. So, let's go 1. 1 seems right.
I have a rule about this category where if it is cohesive, it gets half a point. If it is complex, it gets half a point. I have no problem giving a 1 here. It's to me, it is not a subjective category. It is yes or no, yes or no. 1 point for me as well. Bringing our totals to this is the highest we've ever been once we've gotten here as well. It's also the most expensive bottle that we've ever reviewed.
You don't know that. For you guys, it was nothing.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say
don't know, man. I don't know.
our value was fantastic. Bringing our totals to 6 out of 8 for myself and Brendan, and 5.5 out of 8 for Ben. Brendan, drop the hammer on us. What does this bad boy cost? Also, how available is it? Because we did hold that against Buffalo Trace when we reviewed it. So
Don't give us sale price.
it
I
has
want
not-
MSRP.
It has not been discontinued yet. So right now it's still fairly readily available. I can go into Publix and get it. I can go into a couple of my local liquor stores and get it. The price, however, it varies pretty extraordinarily. I've seen it between $75 and $85. I think $87. I paid $85, but they gave me a St. Patty's Day discount for buying this one, $4 off each of them at Market Square Liquors in Tallahassee. So
if you guys want to sponsor us, we're happy to field any DMs. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Going to be the first time they've sponsored a podcast of mine, but yeah, I'm so happy to shout them out. So let's just say $85 is probably where you're going to find it at. So for me, value, definitely below 1. I'm going between a 0 and 0.5. I think I'm going to go 0 on value at $85. As much as it breaks my heart, it's a really great whiskey. I can't go 0.5 though on it.
Ben, considering Brendan's price, not the fact that you got it for free.
Right.
I said about a minute and a half ago, for more than $70 here, that we're going to run into an issue on value. And I think that has to stand. There are a vast majority of great bourbons at that $80 to $90 price point. And I don't know if this hangs with those. So I think Brendan has it correctly at 0.
Well, I'm going to play heel tonight. We talked
He's going
about
too.
Not quite. I think that for fitting our category of bourbon on a budget or whiskey on a budget, it doesn't necessarily fall into that budget category, but I still think that there is value to this bottle. I think that if you are looking for a change of pace, if you are looking for something different, I have spent the price of this bottle on quite a few things in my collection. I'm just looking right now. I'm trying to think, like 6 to 7 bottles. So I've spent this not often, but I've spent this consistently. You know, maybe it's like a once a month thing for me, but it's once every other month. And I think that this drink gets pretty close to how good those things are. So I'm okay with this value. You know, you get what you're paying for. Is it a great budget? No. If you're trying to drink for that range that we originally talked about on the first episode, you're not going to be able to do that with this. But I do think that at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. And I think there is value in this. And so I'm going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 1 and say that you're
Whoa, that's a big one.
Yeah, you're getting a really, really good whiskey for this.
The argument is not good. The argument is not good. Everyone knows it's good. It's good.
TJ's math on this, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to bring him to a 7, which looking at the Bourbon Big Port here, spoiler for Wild Turkey that's coming out tomorrow, but still, rate, review, subscribe, watch it. You're saying it's as good of a value as Russell's or Wild Turkey 101 at that price.
So I had Russell's higher.
Okay.
Personally. So I did have Russell's at a better. I had Russell's at a 7.5, but I had Russell's value at twice this. So Russell's value to me was twice this. Wild Turkey's value to me was twice this. So value by itself, those blow this out of the water. But all other things considered, I think we can go with this. Russell's, we said you're going to find at about $35. This you're going to find at a little over double that, right? 80. You're getting a better quality whiskey, but you're paying for it. And that's why the value comes down half a point. If this was like 90 or 100, it'd probably be a half or a 0. But I do think there's value there. If you want something a little nicer, if you want something a little better than your just average Jameson, go buy this. Now, again, it's going to be expensive, but there's value there in it, in my opinion. So I don't know.
And if you like, say you try Jameson or like Bushmills, and you like the Irish profile of that shortbreadiness, maybe try Redbreast 12, not the cask strength, but the Redbreast 12, because that just takes it up to a little bit more age and complexity. And then if you like that, then I would say look at either a 12-year cask strength if you like a higher proof whiskey, or the Lestat with the sherry cask is really, really good too. I think I've been going between those two as well. I like maybe the Lestat one a little bit more for my preferences and some of the things I like. I also like Scotch and sherry cask finishes in general as well. Ben, have you gone back to the Jameson since drinking this by any chance? I think I may want to try that real quick, or is that going to be a mistake for me?
Terrible.
It was a mistake. It was a nightmare.
All right, we're
going
to do it. Here we go. Here's the
No.
Jameson.
I just did
The
my
nose actually is it? How was it? Bad, or you're making a
just
face?
didn't taste like anything. It wasn't bad. It just was like, oh, well, that was
No, it's
better.
bad. It's
The
definitely
Jameson
bad.
nose actually, like, I feel like holds up fairly well, considering that it's about 20 percentage points lower. Well, let's see the taste.
I'm going back to the Redbreast to get that Jameson.
Oh, it's water. You're right. It's basically water at that point. It's like Diet Coke. It's got that weird aftertaste, that funky, Irishy, aspartame aftertaste. Now back to the cask strength.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's even better. Ugh,
Yeah, it's great.
delicious.
I was gonna change to a 0.5 because I thought
Oh, don't do that.
No, can't do
Don't
it.
do that. Hey,
no retractions.
No,
No retractions.
I said I was going to, but you guys aren't moving me off this rock. I think it's about double. It's a little more than double the price, so it's half the value because there's value there.
You know what, TJ? You convinced me. Can I move mine to 0.5? I
Sure.
think this is worth an 80. If I want to spend something a little bit more than usual on a special bottle, this is about what I think an $80 to $90 bottle would be. And also for like our metric system, while you guys are doing the math, like 5 points is an average value. When we say 5, that's like about an average value. It means you could take it or leave it if it's on a shelf. You could buy it. It's not going to be a bad value. Doesn't mean it's extraordinary. 6 means it's solid. 7 means it's a pretty good value at that point. That's why we have the Russells up there. Once you start getting into the 8 and 9 range overall, like then we're talking about something pretty damn special. So if this is all going to be like between the 6 and 7 range for us, like, yeah, this is an above average value for what I paid for it. I would bet, I'll put it this way, I would buy it again at $85 when this runs out if I felt so inclined to go into an Irish whiskey.
So I think Brendan and I's answer is going to be yes on this. Ben, are you telling people not to buy this? Like it's not worth it?
No, that's certainly not.
I
idea
wasn't
of
trying.
value.
I wasn't trying.
TJ
No,
flipped
no.
the
Yeah.
script on him.
I
Yeah,
wasn't trying.
No freaking way.
I was just asking because I knew Brendan and I were going to say yeah because he just answered yes and I give it a 1.
Just because I give it a 0 out of 2 on value does not mean the bottle has 0 value. It has value to someone. Certainly, they're selling these bottles at $80. But man, I'm walking into a store and spending considerably less on a bourbon that I think will beat that, bang it out of the water, right? Half price. Rare breed at 116.8 proof at $45. That'll destroy that. That on a value is an easy, we'll get to that, in a future episode. But I'm thinking to myself that at $80, you're fighting with the big in the big leagues. And we're into Irish whiskey, probably not what I'm going to be buying. I'm not saying the bottle has no value because certainly they're selling it, but not a whole lot of value. I'm not going to go and buy it. That's all.
What's going to be tough about this is giving things ratings independent of themselves because it's going to be impossible for us to not think about other things while we do that. If we could totally remove all biases and, Ben's literally bought something out of the Pappy Van Winkle line for $55. So, of course, value is always going to be kind of in the back of your mind. It's always going to be kind of jumping around and stuff. So if we could remove those biases and you just said like, okay, the rating you gave this whiskey, you gave it a whatever out of 8. Would you buy this? Yes or no? Kind of not considering other things. I think that I think if that was the case, we would rate things a little bit differently. But yeah, I might buy this. I might go buy it just to make myself feel better about the one that I gave it. Publix might get some money from me, or ABC, so I can get the points. We talked about that on a recent episode. But I thought this was good. I thought it was much better than the Jameson. I'm glad I'm dropping my Jameson score to 3. Like, I'm going back to that.
3.
Ben also brought up another point, and we'll get out of here in just a second, but Ben brought up another point. It's going to be pretty tough to find things that are in that 9 range ever, because of allocation is going to drop value, rarity is going to drop value. Like, there are things that I know that I would give, for example, a 4 out of 4 on taste, but you just can't find them, so it's going to drop somewhere. So I think anything that gets above an 8 is going to be truly special and elite on this show. And that's kind of our next goal, right? Is to find something that's budget that we can get over an 8. So stay tuned for next week and see if we can get something over that hump. Ben rates everything hard, so that's going to be his shtick.
I rated fairly,
and I rate everything heavy. So Brendan's kind of the mediator.
And my rating is perfect.
I don't know if that's the case, but you guys have anything else? You guys have anything exciting going on tonight for St. Patrick's Day?
I mean, drinking with you guys is about as much fun as I'm going to have in my 30s.
Yeah, I forgot how old you were. Ben, anything for you?
1 year older than you guys. That doesn't.
Did you live through 2020? Do you know how long a year can be? Like,
I've gotten so gray. Like, I got like chest hair that's gray now because of this. Nose hairs. It's just 2020. What a year. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Ben, you got anything before we go?
Nope, that's a great way to end an episode. Doom and gloom.
Oh, yeah.
World's ending.
We're all dying. Fortunately, there's another one of these coming out tomorrow, which will be a review of Wild Turkey 101. We're super excited for that. If you didn't listen to the Gobble Gobble episode to hear Brendan's turkey noises several times throughout the show, you should go do that. Follow us on social media. We appreciate the fan engagement. Hey, if we're not tweeting anything, if you drink something, tag us in it. We'll retweet you. We're retweet whores. Like, we'll retweet you. We'll share your stuff to our story. Like, tag us on Instagram, tag us on Facebook, tag us on Twitter. We'll share your stuff. We'll put in our group messages that we're in, and we'll get you some new followers and likes and everything else, because I know you guys are whores for that stuff too. So interact with us on social media. We'd love it. We'd love a rating on iTunes. We'd love you to subscribe on YouTube. I am out of breath and out of plugs. You guys have a great night. Happy St. Patrick's Day.